how do you get the perfect setup on your sim rig? Well, today I'm going to show you what I do that enables me to race for such long periods. So to give you some context, I've raced for charity for 8 hours straight in the rig, absolutely no issues. I regularly do multiple hour stints, and for me a lot of it is about comfort. I race for real as well, particularly karting where it's very uncomfortable. In sim racing I kind of want to be comfortable, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the ergonomics and everything, and especially the equipment I'm choosing. By the way, this video is sponsored by GT Mega, who did provide me with this GT Mega Prime light rig. Very important to know that. Big thanks to GT Mega for doing that, because it is a great basis point on which to attach all of the equipment here, and this Prime light rig has not put a foot wrong for me. So go check out gtmega.com, use the code Kireth5 at checkout, and you get an extra 5% off everything GT Mega do, which is insane. So thank you very much, GT Mega. But I'm going to start off here with the rim. So in order to get the ultimate comfortable seating position and race for hours very comfortably, rim choice is really, really, really important. So for example, this is the rim I'm using at the moment. It's the Moser KS rim, and it's a rim that I've used so much I actually broke it and I had to fix it. So I've got a video on that. Why do I use this rim? It's quite a wide diameter, which is quite comfortable compared to, say, the Moser FSR, which has a lot more gimp, stuff on it, but it's not quite as comfortable for long stints. This is a bit wider. That gives it more of a relaxed arm, not in so much, feeling really tight. It's also got these rubbery grips, so not Alcantara, so I don't need to wear gloves. These rubber grips, you get the same on Fanatec. Very, very, very comfortable for long periods of time. They're just squeezable a little bit, but they also give you resistance. They're more comfortable than real world karting wheels for me as well. And it's also that GT style. So once I'm locked in like this, I'm locked in for the whole stint. So for Moser, very quickly to put on there, and it will turn on all the lights and everything. Now, as you go up, for example, in that FSR rim, great rim. Let me try and get it focused here. Really, really, really nice rim. Really nice materials. It is carbon fiber. Shifters as well, but for long stints it's not going to be quite as comfortable because it is just a little bit tighter and everything. Okay, so let's get into the ergonomics now. This is arguably the most important thing. So have a look how my arms are when I go onto my wheel. Look at that bend in my arms. I see some people driving too straight. I see some people driving like this. A little bit is down to personal preference, but I think you definitely want to have a bend in your arms. And this is almost like a relaxing, shock absorbing state here, so I can deal with whatever's happening. If I'm going over like that, it's comfortable. If I'm in the middle, it's comfortable like this. I can sort of feel myself, my body in like that. So it's very, 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 very comfortable position. So take a look at that in my bend. Have a look what you're doing with your arms. If it looks massively different, something's probably going wrong. I'll try and show you what it's like if I can go back a bit. But let's say I was like that. This is a stressed out position driving, I can tell you, especially if I'm going over like that. I'm starting to do weird things with my arms. It's not comfortable applying that level of lock, which is subconsciously going to make me not want to apply that lock, which is not great. We want to be really, really, really comfortable in the car. If I came too forward, now I'm really compressed. It's not easy for me, and I'm also hitting I bring my knee up. Can you see my knee? There's my knee. I'm also starting to hit my knee on the thing as well. So I'm trying to get that sweet spot for me, which is to have that bend in my arms, and I'm bringing it round. And what I do is I come off the brake. So I'm off the brake now. Come off that brake, and then try and move the thing. And if you can see my knee there, just in the bottom, you see my knee there? So I'm rotating it with my hand where it's not going to touch my knee. Sometimes I get a little brush of my knee. I don't mind a little brush, but you definitely don't want any more than that. You don't want to be hitting your knees. Again, I think arguably most importantly, subconsciously, it's going to put you off going into those sort of situations. So we've got that nice flex. You can test it as well. If you put your hands on the wheel like that, you can see it's kind of straight. So that's with my arms over the back of the wheel like that. But super, 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 super comfortable. Let me show you with the other Moser wheel as well. Take that off the old quick release and put this one on. And you can see it's a bit of a similar position, but just it's a little bit more cramped. So if I was doing a sprint race, absolutely I'm going to go for this Moser FSR. It's a bit more precise, but for a long multi-hour stint, I'm personally not going to use this one over the KS, even though this one is actually, well, it's a lot more expensive than the other one. So worth bearing that in mind. Now with the pedals is all personal preference. And we'll have some B-roll here of me at trade shows or when I've raced on stage. And some drivers like the pedals like really high, some drivers like them low. I would say again, it's personal preference. There is a lot of science with getting the real force through your legs and pushing back into the seat through your arse basically. And if you're sat too straight, you can't really do that. So if your pedals are on the floor, you can't really get that thing. If your legs are sort of coming up quite high, then you can push straight into the chair. So that's the science behind it. Depends what pedals you're running. I'm running a Fanatec load cell here, so I want it on the stiffest like load cell elastometer, so I want to get quite a lot of force in there, and that's why you can see my chair on the GT Mega actually moving. That's why I'd quite like to try out the bucket chair they do actually, to have none of that flex. But yeah, that's my ergonomics for my hands, for the legs. The screen is really close, so that's literally where my screen is. Like my base is just a pixel away from what you can see right now, and that means because it's in closer, it gives me a wider field of view. So if you want to basically have more of a field of view, bring your screen in closer. This is something that Michi Hoyer taught me. He's one of the fastest esports drivers in the world. So if you put your screen all the way back, it's going to cause absolute madness for your field of view. I don't personally run triples. I do often run in virtual reality. This is my Pimax Crystal. That probably should keep in the case actually, so those lenses don't burn out from lights. But if you run in a VR headset, then you're going to have amazing field of view. But I would say there's a lot of trade-offs with VR, like comfort, ease of use. I know a lot of people who have gone through the VR cycle and like, it's amazing, but it's just too much hassle. This is like the minimum hassle for me. Other things I do as well, I have a shifter here, which is hidden behind the wheel. So I have a shifter that I'm really not very good at using, but it's very satisfying. I didn't do too much to attach it. I just added a little bit of extrusion. I also have a microphone here. That's mainly for streaming. I would not recommend using this if you're not streaming at all, because it just gets in the way. You end up hitting it. And with VR, the VR headset's here, so I would definitely just have a headset with a mic built into it. I have a Stream Deck over here that's very useful, and it's actually the smallest Stream Deck they do, the cheapest one. It's like £50. So it has my buttons for, you can map to absolutely anything. A Stream Deck is a very powerful piece of equipment. And I have my wheelbase angled actually slightly up, so you'll probably see here that the wheelbase, it's angled very, very, very slightly up. This is a personal preference thing, but I like it angled up. I don't like having it completely straight. Most rigs will allow you to adjust that, so check what you can do on your rig. But that mainly is my setup. I've got some other videos around here that will also help you with making choices. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Hope it helped you, and I'll see you next time.